Hey guys, it's Luke here with RW Soundworks, bringing you an update that's focused on sound deadening, specifically doors, here from the Jeep build. So I want to walk you through my mindset, how I approach a project like this, where we're really focused on extreme output, absolutely no tolerance for rattles, resonances, working with less than ideal mounting conditions, an older vehicle. This is a 2011. So aging plastics, plastic welds, et cetera, et cetera. So just want to walk you through kind of my considerations and my approach and the way that my progress is working through the doors. I'm going to show you how I've treated each step. And then the outer door cards here actually have nothing, some progression, full CLD, and then fiber mat, where that is ready to go back in the vehicle. This just needs fiber mat, and then CLD, and then this needs everything. So I'll bring you through kind of how I look at those, the steps that I take. And yeah, these are the inner door panels, which we'll get to in a second, but we're going to start on some completed pieces. So before we get to the front door, so these are the rear doors. Again, the Jeep here, there is a little bit of work. It's a double-edged sword. It's a pain in the ass to remove these inner panels that you see here, because they have the entire, you can see here, the window track, where this is where the window sits into. It's got the window motor. So you have to take this whole piece out, which is relatively involved. It's got the latch mechanism attached. So there's a few pieces and time, more than the typical door that's got a couple of access panels. But when it comes to sound treatment, on the outer metal skin, you can get a really, really nice, almost full coverage, which is what we've done here. So the rear doors and the front doors have it's not 100%, but it's like 90% coverage with Resonix Mega CLD, which is the best constrained layer dampener CLD product in the world. Does, what you're hearing is the glass, but an incredible job. Like, kind of hear some of this hollowness compared to when you knock on, and even with Guardian, it's basically like your doors are concrete. But I work from the outside on the metal skin. Always start with Mega CLD, especially in a case like this, where this build has a tremendous amount of bass, which is going to introduce any possible resonance. So we're going to get as much CLD as we can fit. We bought 6 boxes for this build. I have a little bit more for my supply that we may end up using. And then we have another box of 40 of original CLD, which we'll use for like quarter panels, stuff that's less prone to transferring energy or smaller panels, things like that. So we'll use up that stack of 40 through that. So outer gets this metal skin, and something just fell. And from there, so the rear doors, because there's literally no rear speakers in here, the CLD is all that's going to go on the outside. We're not doing like a Guardian or a lockout product. We are going to do fiber mat on the inner side of the door. So that'll be our noise absorption. And but again, back doors, no speakers, but we're still applying CLD and doing the normal treatment, almost as if there was a speaker back there, just for road noise and resonance reduction, to just have this vehicle be very tight for both sound from the audio system and on the road. So after I get CLD, I will move to adding Guardian. So this is Resonix Guardian. So it's a combination layered product. It has both a noise absorption layer with the melamine foam that's on here, that's hydrophobic. And then there is a lead, it's essentially, a lead barrier in there as well for noise, basically is a noise blocking layer. And then it has a self-adhesive, so it makes it super easy to install. Probably the easiest part of this entire install is Guardian. So there is roughly 4 sheets in each of the front doors. You can see the other side over there. That's been treated the same way. Again, this helps as a backwave absorber for the speaker itself. Again, noise absorber for outside road noise, and really can try to tame down some of the violent sound waves that kind of travel through these doors, and hopefully help tame and control that and really keep the doors quiet and composed. But so that gets essentially like the same coverage as CLD. We went to a few more extremes here. There's some butyl inside of the metal brace here. And then there's also, I use some of my scraps that you can see through here that run up in there. Again, trying to get as much coverage, make this door freaking rock solid, especially since we are not going to be doing kicks. Very unlikely that we do sealed door enclosures. So we are going to make doors viable. He probably will end up competing if I know him. But again, this is more about his personal enjoyment, but we don't want any buzzes or rattles, and we want to make the doors perform as well as possible. So we are going to extreme levels of sound treatment and sound deadening using Resonix products to get those results, and I know we will. So that's the outer metal skin. I've done a video on my Instagram that focuses on these panels here and why they're so involved, because this is a big piece of plastic here. So it is prone to flexing. Mid-bass really excels with rigid mounting. So I know you guys are probably looking at this going, hey, why didn't you CLD where the 6x9 is? It's because I have plans for that. We actually have, my intent is tomorrow I plan to drill a ton of holes in this, and I'm actually going to Duraglass and make this about a 1/2 inch thick on the outside, and then thicken up the inside as well to make that basically solid fiberglass for the entire mounting for both front doors, so that the Blam MB690 has a much better chance of having a more rigid mounting location that doesn't transfer energy into the plastic door panel. But regardless, we still take some extreme levels of care to making these have the best chance of success possible, which means, like, I think, so I've about 2 full days into the car, maybe about 12 hours. And half of which was literally just on these 4 panels, because there is so many little moving parts. So you got the window motor that I literally took apart from the front and the back, and you can see there's some CCF tape here. So that decouples the plastic to plastic, so those can't rattle. I've taken the window tracks off, and I'm not sure if you can peek in there, but there is CCF tape between the window track and the plastic, so the metal to plastic can no longer resonate. Then you have obviously the CLD UC, and one I use Nick's trick of using the wax paper to try to template pieces so I can get larger pieces. With CLD, keeping larger pieces when possible is better. CLD is more effective when it is in larger individual pieces. So taking your time to template and not having to be like, oh, all right, put a little square here, a little square here, a little square here. That makes it far less ineffective. But when you can have something like this that, yeah, it looks like aluminum foil here, but there's only there's only 5 pieces on this entire panel, and on like the big piece there, there's only 7. And to me, it's just taking your time templating. And the great part is once you template one side, you can literally flip it, and then you've already pre-templated the other, either the passenger or the driver's side panel. So it takes you time to do it, but it makes you more efficient on the next door. So other pieces that go in this has an access panel. So this thing is CLD'd both sides. Taken CCF tape, trace the entire opening. So this can only, because this thing is fairly loose, but once it's clipped in, it's very strong. Or it doesn't, I'm not gonna say strong, I'm just gonna say that it doesn't make any noise and it seals up. Then we also applied some CCF, or not CCF, this is the Resonix interior tape to all of the plastic clips. So when this clips in, it doesn't make any more noise. but it also still does secure and keeps it airtight because we want this to be as tight and airtight as possible from the inside. We want all of the energy to be just exiting through the cone. Taken, again, window motor came off. Even taken these little sensors off. There's CCF tape between this piece and this piece so the plastic doesn't rattle. This is a wire kind of holding clip. So again, CCF tape there where the wire is going to lay. And then even on the teeth of the clip, we've applied some CCF tape. Again, I don't want the wires to be resonating as those move. The back side of the window mechanism, CCF tape there. So when that clips in, that doesn't resonate. The actual control module, taking this off, put CCF tape between this, and there's CCF tape on the back side of this panel between the plastic to plastic. So you're getting the idea that this stuff takes, again, it's everywhere. It takes a long time to do it properly, but nobody wants to take their doors apart more than once, especially doors like this, where it's a half hour to an hour for each of these panels to come out, even if you know what you're doing. So take your time, do it once, do it right, and you'll see a higher chance of success when you, again, sound deadening is about the sum of the parts. So get yourself the correct suite of items. Like I said, you got CLD, CCF tape, actual CCF sheets. You got CCF on things like this. You can even see sheets. This is the tape. What else is on here? Well, eventually we'll get to some fiber mat here and some butyl as well. But again, there's like 5 different products just on these in order to make them really, really solid. But I'm very optimistic now with what we have going on. So that's the inner door pieces. One thing that I didn't note that I will add is there's a gasket on that piece, but I will add some CCF tape along this entire perimeter just to decouple that. These are locking mechanisms, and then it actually has 10mm bolts. I think there's like 7 of them. So the thing does suck in and secure very tightly, but again, there's a fair amount of flex in these things. The CLD, again, we did both sides, which not a lot of people, I never see people do that. But again, we're trying to give this the best chance of success to have very high quality mid bass. So yeah, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to CLD the front side and the back side, which has added a lot of weight, a lot of mass, a lot of rigidity to these panels. And I even did it on the back side. Again, I just don't want the doors to rattle. They are like there's so many moving parts in these pieces and so many plastic pieces that they needed a lot of TLC. Now, the actual outer door cards. So I've ripped off the OEM fiber mat, kind of see it up in the box there. I'll eventually stuff it into something in the car. But when you get these, assuming you guys can hear that, I just launched a body clip out of it. But these body clips make a ton of noise. There is just so many plastic welds in these doors. Again, these doors are now 15 years old. They're gonna creak. And when I start launching a 24-inch sub worth of energy through them, they need to be treated correctly. So when I look at this outer door card, I go, okay, body clips, they make a lot of noise. I know what my answer is to that. I'm gonna tape them. So this has kind of my step 1 procedure, this panel here, which I've gone and I looked at the body clips as my low-hanging fruit. Okay, those are all taped. Now those are rigid. Like you can hear this panel. It doesn't make any noise anymore because it's got all of everything has been butyled and taped. So that gets rid of like the low-hanging fruit of the plastic and the body clips. But I look at all the plastic welds and I go, okay, I got a plastic weld panel here that has a chance to creak and move. I got this whole large panel. I got this plastic weld that goes along the entire upper trim piece. And then I got a bunch of areas in like the door lock mechanism. Then I have, this is the anchor point for the door. This is where the switch location is. So there's a bunch of voids and panels in here and on the underside of here. So that's the areas that I'm gonna go after and chase with butyl. So the front doors have like three coils of butyl rope in each of them. Rear doors will probably end up with like 1.5, just because they're smaller doors, and there's a little bit less going on in terms of plastic panels and storage areas, so they are not as bad. But so looking at the rear door, if you're comparing it to here, you don't really see a ton, but there's actually, like I said, about that's a partial roll, but there's about 1.5 rolls of butyl in this thing. So again, I've taken butyl, used that all around this panel. So now with time, especially when you introduce a lot of audio energy, these panels are going to see a lot of wear and tear and accelerated wear and tear because of how much energy comes through with the audio system. So now this panel's got butyl, so that will hold those two panels much stronger together. I've gone through, you can start to see there's butyl in here. There's butyl under here. You can start to see some of that. I got some here, got some stuffed in here. You can start to walk this whole line. This entire line has been butyl all the way stuffed in there. Again, there's a ton that's up in here. Doesn't take a ton of time. I don't know, maybe it takes 20 minutes, but there's a lot of peace of mind. So now this thing is, all the plastic welds have been treated with butyl. All of these little panel points, so you can see these plastic pieces, these alignment kind of nodules, those just go plastic into a metal hole in the door. So I'm gonna take some Resonix interior tape. I'm gonna wrap them around that. There's 1, 2, and then I looked at, there's some smaller ones you can see here from the where the door handle is that are alignment for the door itself. But I know those are gonna act the same way, so I wrap those in both locations. Now I have a rock solid, I don't worry about any plastic to metal or plastic to plastic joints. Everything's been treated or decoupled in some way. So once I'm done with that, then I move on to CLD. So again, I've thrown them away, but I do template the entire door and take my time. So again, I'm trying to maximize coverage with individual pieces. So there's probably still numbers on some of these. So yeah, 8. So there's 8 total pieces of CLD here. Trying to get as big of pieces as possible and then just work my way around. So so far, and I haven't done those 2 doors, and I'm into the 3rd box of Mega. I'll probably be pretty close to using 3 boxes in just the doors, which is extreme. But again, I'm trying to get a ton of coverage. I'm doing front and back. You saw how the exterior of the doors are done. They're heavy coverage, but again, this build is a no compromise build. We don't want to be thinking about it or doubting it. So if the question is to cover it, the answer is always yes. So this gets the same level of treatment. You can see this has gotten all the butyl. This is all stuffed in all those locations. Some of the butyl is buried under the CLD, but also I take into consideration service. So these are lights. I still leave areas for this light. There's a light here. Yes, they've been butyled, but you can take that. There's smaller pieces of butyl. You can peel the butyl, still take the light out and still replace it. The plug harness here, this is the harness for the lights. Again, it's been butyled with 2 small pieces either side, so it doesn't vibrate, but it still allows perfect access or service if that needs to be taken out. And then making sure I'm maintaining proper access. This is where the switches come in, mounting point, and then speaker. Besides that, there's really nothing else to service on these doors. Most of it is done on the interior panels. So again, those have to take that into consideration as you're putting them together, but you still need to maintain serviceability. You have to assume that this vehicle is going to stay in the owner's hands for years. It's going to go into the shop. Window motors are going to die. And last thing you need is a tech in a garage that has no familiarity with the sound system or consideration or care for it. And they're there to do a production-based job. And if you get in the way with it for how you built the audio system, that's on you, in my opinion. So you need to be thinking about somebody else being in the vehicle, whether it's the owner or a tech, and how you build the system to accommodate that. You can't build an audio system in a vacuum. You have to take consideration that this is a vehicle that somebody's using and will go into a shop at some point. So please, as you think about it, just don't lather CLD over everything. And all of a sudden, because anybody who's worked with Resonix Mega, or really any Resonix product, the adhesives are insane. They are there for life. The CLD does not come off, especially if it goes on metal. On plastic, it's actually insane too, but like on metal, once that's on, good luck. It is literally like, as soon as it's rolled, I consider that a permanent modification to the door. But these things are like, I don't know, I'm gonna guess that this panel now is, it's probably about 20 pounds by itself. Again, there's about, even though it's chopped up, I'm going to say there's 6 full sheets of Mega CLD in what you see there. And then lastly, so fiber mat is the last step here. So this, you can kind of see a few different layers because we have some big cavities in here. We have to maintain some clearances here, but under here, you can see I've added some layers of 1 inch. Under here, there's a big cavity, so there's actually 2 layers of 1 inch, plus some 1/2 inch. So we can try to get some more absorption where we can, but I need to be conscious of areas that need to body clip, so you can't add a ton of thickness in some areas because you just need to be able to have this clip back in successfully and not have the fiber mat be pushing out against the clips, because that inevitably will cause long-term failure, and it's going to eventually push out of the clips and eventually start vibrating. So be conscious. Like, it's, yeah, everybody wants to put as much thickness as you can of fiber mat, but you need to make sure that the door can go back in and have it be like something that's going to last a while and be secure. So please just take that into consideration when you're using this product, that it does compress a lot, but it doesn't compress to nothing. So especially if you're using the 1 inch or the new 2 inch, this is 1/2 inch. Again, there's some layers in some different areas, but now we have kind of everything is designed to absorb and then direct energy through just the opening. So this stuff still has a little bit of play because we will have some CCF speaker strips that will seal it to the door, but this will direct energy and really give the speaker the best chance of success. So this is, again, just a video of sharing my thoughts, how I work through sound treatment. This isn't necessarily exclusive to doors. This is obviously focused on them, but same principles apply when you're taking off other panels in your vehicle and treating body clips the same way, treating loose wires, clips, stuff that has opportunity to move, plastic to plastic, plastic to metal. Just thinking about those things and thinking about how energy gets transferred through whatever panel or piece that you're working on, and just think about what are the opportunities to improve how it goes together. So leave a comment. I'm going to throw this up on YouTube. Leave a comment, a like. What did you learn? What do you think I have opportunity to improve on? And if you have any questions, I'm going to link some of the products in the description that I use here, but I encourage you guys to check out the Resonix Sound Solutions website. Nick's got an excellent guide. He's a big reason of how this goes together is from my time learning from Nick's guides and just experience with him personally. And so I encourage everybody to take time, whether you're even using Resonix products or not. The buyer's guide, what product to use in what situation, and how to use what product in the correct application can save you so many headaches, money, and your time, and get you a much better end product if you just follow some of those steps that are on that guide. There's so much to be learned, and it's out there for free, so take advantage of it. And he's got also some great video content of actually how to sound treat doors, where he's showing you physically how to do it. Again, you're seeing some of the end products here or the in progress stages of these pieces, but he's got some great content on there as well. So I encourage you guys to check that out. But yeah, thank you guys. And I'll be doing I don't know. I might do an update tomorrow. I'm trying to do weekly updates on Sundays of where I am with the vehicle, but you guys are kind of seeing where it's at. So we've really been focused on the doors. I hope tomorrow to finish up getting all the sound treatment done on the doors, get the interior pieces back in, get the windows reattached, get the harnesses reattached, and then get block off plates for the rear doors, which I'm going to 3D print those tonight. And then I should have the 6x9s on Monday. So we'll get those into the door, and then we can get the panels back on. And then we will focus on starting to sound treat the rest of the car. So I'm going to focus on getting the seats out, carpet out, headliner dropped. So I'm going to try to get the headliner, the sunroof is my next focus. And then I'm going to work my way top down through the vehicle. So focus on sunroof and all those pieces, work my way down the pillars, and then work on the floor. I'll leave the very trunk until I get the SI-24 is supposed to be here this coming week. I need to decide how I'm going to cut through the floor before I sound treat back there. And then lastly, I'll do the rear hatch probably before I do the trunk area, but I'll probably do that with the sunroof, because rear hatch and sunroof are my two biggest worries from long-term rattles. So we're going to definitely take some time with those. But got HVR coming up this next weekend. So yeah, I'm going to try to get through, I'm going to say 80% of the sound treatment before I head out there, and then wrap up the rest of that early next week. I'm hoping to, by the end of the first week or the end of the second week of June, that all the sound deadening and sound treatment is done and the interior is mostly back together. And then focus on pulling dash. I have a 3D scanner coming next week, so I'll get the dash scanned, and Matt Kim and I will start working on of Audio and Reach. We'll start working on the sails and the pillars. I just need to get that scanned before I take the dash out, and then I want to sound treat the whole dash, put that all back together, drill the holes for the mids, and then get the front sub going, and then probably finish the amp rack in the back is where my brain's at. So anyways, thank you guys. Have a good one.